Jugal Purohit now joins us live for more on this exclusive report. Jugal, explain to us the context under which this NIA investigation has led to the charge sheet that has been filed now.
Well, this was an unparalleled attack if one is to look at the kind of attacks that the Maoists had carried out last year during the Parivartan Yatra that the Congress party had initiated in the state of Chhattisgarh before the state elections there. The Maoists actually planning, once they got the information about the presence of controversial tribal leader and leader of opposition Mahendra Karma, about his presence in that Yatra, they planned for 3 months. An elaborate exercise was carried out. Several villagers were kidnapped in the process to try and help them set up the logistics. Different companies, different armed formations were called from different parts of the state and even perhaps outside to assemble towards executing this attack. And it was, as I said, an unparalleled attack in the history of India's anti-Naxal campaign. It was an attack which shook the entire country, and now we have among the most specialized and fine agencies investigating the case. This is perhaps the first time that the NIA has actually been able to complete its investigation and file a charge sheet in such a high-profile attack. It is perhaps the biggest attack in the last 4 years to have taken place. And even though it's a specialized agency, but a specialized agency cannot remain oblivious to the ground situation, which is that in Chhattisgarh and in these areas, never before has an investigation ever been done, to ascertain, to actually arrest, identify, and then subsequently convict those accused. So it's a very, very infirm base from where the effort is being made. We also are given to understand that just to actually identify an accused, which otherwise is a very simple procedure, you would have to launch an entire operation, because to go into areas where these accused have their residences, where they live, where their families are, it's not easy. And towards doing even the single identification, in this case, of course, 9 accused have been charged sheeted. To do even a single identification, an entire operation had to be launched. So it's an extremely complex, task of basically gathering evidence and subsequently charge sheeting these 9 accused.
It was also, Jugal, the first Naxal attack case in which the NIA had been roped in, and it appears to have been a very difficult investigation.
Well, the charge sheet is now in the domain of the court. There are no daily hearings, mind you, in this case, at least as of now. The charge sheet has only been filed last week, so subsequent proceedings will take place. It all remains to be seen whether this investigation, which is right now being claimed as being an extremely credible one, an extremely painstaking one, will actually lead to any convictions or not. That's a matter, of course, that the court will decide. But what it signifies, perhaps, is that there is at least now some base from which investigations can be launched, even though the ambit of investigations and to actually execute these investigations is extremely difficult in an area where there's just no rule of law prevailing, where there's no organ of the state functioning. And as this attack perhaps shows us that even though the Maoists planned this and then went about doing it for 3 months, and as I said, involved a lot of villagers, kidnapped many people, so basically they were doing a lot of things across a huge area, but still not a single agency of the government got even a whiff of what was in store, and obviously none could prevent it. So it just goes to show the kind of vacuum in which this effort is being mounted, and it remains to be seen just how credible and how successful it ultimately becomes.
Right. All right, Jugal, thanks very much for getting us all those details. We, of course, continue to keep a close track on that bloody attack that had taken place in May last year. Time for us to slip into